everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name is Carrie Ann, and with me I also have Melanie. We are two keepers here in the interpretive department. Now she introduces herself. This is Tanzi. Tanzi is a almost 7-year-old African pygmy falcon. She's one of my favorite animals here at the zoo to work with. She's one of our ambassadors. So it's her job to come out and meet people when everybody is here. But right now we're getting to enjoy some really nice tulips outside and getting to see some of our co-workers. If you guys can see the tulips, they are in full bloom and it is beautiful today. So we're trying to enjoy that weather with her. So a lot of people, the first thing they ask when they see Tanzi, they ask if she is a baby bird because she is so small, and she is very small. She's the second smallest bird of prey in the world, but she, like I said, is almost 7. She is full grown. She's not going to get any bigger than what she is. She weighs about 80 to 85 grams, which is the equivalent of about a couple Oreo cookies, so it's not very heavy at all. The glove I'm wearing to protect my hand is actually much heavier than Tanzi is herself. So while we're out here, I'm also going to be giving her lots of snacks. One of her favorite things to eat are bugs, things like crickets, mealworms, superworms, waxworms. She also gets things like small mice, and she can even have really specialized items like snail once in a while to test those out. And as you guys watch her eat, you'll see that she holds that food in those really sharp talons that she has. And she has that really nice specially designed beak to help her tear at things like the piece of meat she has right now. Another question we get about her a lot is the difference between a hawk and a falcon. So most of the time falcons are a lot smaller than hawks, but what really sets them apart are 2 things, is their speed and their wing shape. I guess 3 things, and then also their beak. So if you look at that beak, it acts just like a knife. It can tear apart anything that she's trying to eat in bite-sized pieces that work just for her. And then her wings, she's super agile. So while a hawk might soar or swoop, falcon's wings are almost shaped like a boomerang. So when she has to make really quick or agile turns, that's no problem for her at all. It's really handy too because she is a free-flighted bird. When we are inside, we do fly. She has a team here that works with her on all those flying techniques. And she's also pretty vocal. That's one of my other favorite things about her. So she's very rarely quiet, and that is unique to pygmy falcons. So most falcons do make some sort of vocalization, but this one talks quite a bit. They actually live in pairs or groups. They'll even hunt in pairs or groups. They're from Africa, if you didn't catch that part. And another cool thing about them are they're kind of like little bird pirates. So they'll actually take over parts of other birds' nests, like weaver birds that are in trees. They have these huge nests. They can get so big that they can cause a tree to fall over, and the pygmy falcons will take up part of that room, and it kind of helps both birds out. The pygmy falcons get to live there, and they will eat things that are coming near that nest, like small lizards or snakes that might try to go after those weaver birds, and in return they have a big safe nest to lay their eggs in as well.
Most people might ask, what is all of that equipment on Tanzi's legs and feet? It's kind of like how when you take your dog on a walk, you might have a collar and a leash on them. She has what we call anklets, which is the part that goes around her ankles. And then the jesses are the part that come from the anklets, kind of like a leash. And that way it attaches to the strongest part of her body. So if she tries to fly off, it's just an extra safety net for us to ensure that she stays here with us here at the zoo. All right, so Ethan wants to know, what do they like to eat? So falcons, a lot of times they eat rodents and amphibians and things like that, but because Tanzi is so small, from Africa, her niche is to fulfill eating on the insect population. So as you can see, she's eating a cricket, and they'll eat all kinds of things like grasshoppers, earthworms, and Carrie Ann named a couple other food items earlier on too.
Yeah, so another question we have is from Mindy, is how long do they live? So in the wild, they can live anywhere from maybe 6 to 10 years, but then in managed care, like here at the zoo, Tanzi could live well into her teens. And like I said, she's about to turn 7 this summer, so she's still a nice, young, healthy bird, and we're looking forward to a lot more time with her.
All right, so Kelly wants to know, why is she so vocal? So Carrie Ann just kind of talked about how they're social birds, and just like any social animal, including ourselves, we like to talk a lot, and it's really important living in groups that they communicate with each other. So she's vocalizing, and she's even giving other communications, even with that tail. You can see she's flipping that tail up and down, and we always say that's her being very sassy and confident. And her feathers being fluffed up is also her showing that she's very comfortable, confident, and again, they have a very sassy personality, which is why Carrie Ann and I adore Tanzi so much.
Yeah, so it looks like Henry has a question, and he asked, can she swim? And that's a really good question. So most birds love to bathe and take baths. Tanzi is no exception to that, but she typically doesn't take a bath in water. She actually takes a dust bath. So if you look at her feathers, she looks super, super fluffy, and those feathers are really unique to her. So when they do get wet, they actually absorb water pretty easily, and it can weigh her down and make her really, really heavy. So to get clean, she's typically not going to take a bath or go swimming. But she will take a dust bath, so we can put a special dust powder down, and she'll ruffle her feathers all in that and cover herself with that, and that is what actually will get her clean.
We have a question from Amy on who's her favorite keeper. I will actually be very honest and say that it is Carrie Ann who's her favorite keeper, specifically because Carrie Ann not only feeds her and cares for her every day, but Carrie Ann taught her how to fly on cue, meaning that she gives her a hand signal and Tanzi will fly across the room, usually with some guests, to show how agile and fast she is. And that's also a good way for her to get out of her space, get some exercise, and she really enjoys doing that. So Carrie Ann and Tanzi are BFFs for sure.
Yeah, so Ruby asked, how long do they sleep? And that's another good question. So Tanzi is a diurnal bird. That means that she's awake during the day and she's going to sleep at night. Now during winter though in Africa, they'll actually sleep a lot longer. They'll stay in their nest longer to stay warm. And they will sleep to up to 15 hours a day, or at least rest in their nest for that long. But typically they are active from sunup to sundown. It also looks like Jordan asked, do they eat other birds? And they do not. So again, she's very, very small. She's one of the smallest things that you will see flying in Africa. So that's not going to be a main prey item for her. Like Melanie and I mentioned earlier, things like insects, little lizards, even snakes, those would be prey items. And again, they're unique because they can hunt in groups or pairs and take down much larger prey that they typically wouldn't be able to take down on their own.
Chloe wants to know, what is the yellow part near her eye? So that's just her normal coloration. She doesn't have any feathers around that part of her eye. And so that's just the color of her skin around her eye. It makes a beautiful coloration for her.
Yeah, it also adds as a barrier from the feathers that are on her face. It's kind of like how our eyebrows keep sweat off of our face. Those eye circles there keep those little wispy feathers from getting into her eye. Which is a really good question. Rebecca asked, why do you need to wear a glove? And that's another really good question. So I do have on a leather glove, and we use leather gloves with pretty much all of our birds of prey. And if you look at her feet, you'll see why. So even though she's very, very tiny, she still has really sharp feet. And if she were sitting on my bare hand, it wouldn't be super comfortable for me. So Tanzi has been sitting on a glove since she was very, very little. Once her talons started to grow in, the glove is introduced, and she's super, super used to it. It also has a better grip surface for her than my skin. As you can see, the tips of her toes can hold on to that leather to keep her stabilized while she's sitting on the glove, because no matter how still I try to stand, things like wind and just our body shifting can make her readjust. So we want her comfortable too.
And I want to remind you guys at home, we appreciate so much your support and your fan base to our videos, our home safaris. We love sharing with you guys. We love sharing the passion that we have for animals. And we hope that you guys are inspired at home. So we'll give you another home activity, but I just want to remind you guys, if you're enjoying these, to click the donate button and help us out. We really appreciate it. Why don't you tell us about the activity?
Yeah, so we actually have two activities you can take for Tanzi. So the first one is going to be a Falcon Quiz. You can find it on the website, and it's a couple questions about falcons to see how much you think you might know about them, and maybe learn a thing or two as well. And then the second activity is, we mentioned Tanzi is an excellent flyer, so we would like you guys to make your own Falcon airplane. So think of the different ways that you could fold your airplane to make it fly really swift and really fast like Tanzi. You can also decorate your paper airplane airplane to look like Tanzi. Her colors are really pretty, so you could try to use those with markers, paint, anything like that. But remember, you do want your airplane to be very, very light because Tanzi is super, super light. So the lighter you make it, the swifter it will drive, or on our Instagram or Twitter under Zoo Home Safari. And we would love to see those. We love seeing your guys' fan art. It makes it wonderful. We share it with all of our coworkers. We share it with our animals. It's lovely to see, and we really appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. And one thing that's unique to Tanzi, if you do decorate those airplanes, is the brown patch on her back that we haven't quite talked about yet. So male and female pygmy falcons look a little bit different, and the females have that really pretty brown patch on their back, and the males are all silver on their back. So Eric asked, how long do the eggs take to hatch? So pygmy falcons typically lay 2 to 3 eggs at a time, and it takes around a month or so for them to incubate and hatch, anywhere from like 27 to 31 or 32 days, I believe. So Tanzi does live by herself, so she will hopefully not be laying any eggs anytime soon. But when they do lay eggs, that is how long it takes. And then Brady asked, how fast can they fly? So I haven't actually had a chance to clock Tanzi's speed. She is very fast, do not get me wrong, but there's another species of falcon that is even faster than her. It's called a Peregrine Falcon, and it is one of the fastest animals in the world. It can dive in the air up to 240 miles per hour, which is a lot faster than Tanzi. Yeah, so we really appreciate you guys coming in and meeting Tanzi today and learning a little bit about her. We're really excited to see those activities that you guys will be doing at home with your family. Now, don't forget, tomorrow we will be doing another Zoo Home Safari at 3 p.m. with Fiona, so make sure to tune in for that. Again, we really, really appreciate you guys participating. We love sharing our animals with you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.